you can also be yourself, and and still be taken somewhat seriously and build a business. And one thing that I do in for instance my emails is that I combine the niche that I'm reaching out to with cats, and then I make something in Midjourney with cats. A lot of times when you do stuff like this, you think it has to be a specific way. Oh, I have to be like Mr. Beast, or I have to be slick, or whatever. And that's not. I think nobody cares anymore. It's just like, just be authentic, you know.
Like
Wait, are you now going
this
to
is
like? This is Bibi the Link Builder.
in this episode of In the Query. I sat down with Bibi the Link Builder from bibibus.com, and we had a very fun, casual chat where she very graciously revealed to me all the cool things that she does with her email outreach to land really cool links, kind of like opening methods and cool off the cuff things that she pulls off to really get the attention of editors and make link building fun. If you ever seen her on stage, or if you ever had a conversation with her, she's a fantastic human being, very fun, cool conversation. I had a great time, and I hope you will too. Intro video. Realistically, I mean, I'll be honest, right? There are plenty business podcasts, with amazing production and whatnot, and this is clearly not it. And it's also not who I am, right? Like, sure, I want to talk about business, and there's some questions that I have where I would love for you to give your latest, like, living at the edge of the razor type of commentary and insights on what's going on with the industry. But
Yeah.
for me, it's only a part of the podcast because it's what ties already with the kind of people that know me and the kind of people that will watch. But I personally, and this is a very self-serving thing that I'm doing here, I care a little bit less about that, and I care a bit more about, like, who is Bibi really, right? Like, who is the human behind the brand, and why do you make the choices that you make, and why are you the way that you are on
Yeah.
stage with a lightsaber and kittens in your presentations, and how do you find that courage to just be so yourself and genuinely not give an F
Yeah.
in a world where, well, I mean, let's face it, like, how many ladies are there in SEO? Not that many, right?
No.
What's your take on the ratio of energies, of yins and
I
yangs in the industry?
Yes, I think it's a really good question. Um, because people a lot of times they get like a one-sided view of SEO people. Um, so for instance, so they could see like, oh, these are all like SEO bros, it's very much like that. And look at me being a baller and whatever. Um, and it's also true for some people, right? But I think it's also can also be very negative and toxic, because people look at themselves and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm not succeeding like that, or I'm not booking my jet or whatever. Um, so I I think I'm already weird, but I am also trying to go against that image of, oh, I'm perfect and I have everything together, and I'm this professional person, just to help people out, that you can also be yourself, and still be taken somewhat seriously and build a business. So I've always gone against the grain. I think it also has to do with how I grew up. So I grew up in a wealthy family, but they were all artists. So they were all the people that they were successful, but they're also 100% themselves. So on the one hand, it showed me, yes, you can make art and make money with it. Just be yourself, right? And the other side of it was that, because I grew up with money and I still had an unhappy childhood for for the most part. I think I ran away when I was 13, and then I went to live with my dad because I came from an abusive household. So I also realized money doesn't make you happy, actually. So there are all these other things, like, being able to enjoy your loved ones, and small things and pleasures and joys. That's actually, for me, those are the small things are the big things for me. So Me personally, I don't buy into the whole baller thing, and I want to show people that, I guess. So
I like that.
yeah,
I
but
like
as
that.
a woman, yeah, from a woman perspective, um, I don't know how the female thing plays into that. Maybe because I do care about how other people feel at the other end. I mean, not that other people don't care, but I don't want to give them the impression that they're not doing good enough. I think everybody's
Hmm.
just doing
Hmm.
trying to do a good job,
I'm not
and yeah, I think
one.
yeah,
I'm not one personally to really give that much of a fuck about singular distinctions between human beings, right? So you can say
yeah,
man, woman is a singular dimension, right? And we are
hmm
this literally is like choose any of the thousands of dimensions that compose an individual, a human being, right? Whatever set of genitalia you are born with is one out of a very vast array. And I didn't know that
yeah.
you grew up in a family of artists. And that is funny because I grew up in a family of artists. Now,
Oh
so you could say, oh, there's a commonality in between a dimension, which is like, what's the background of growing up? Well, with artists. Now, unfortunately, my artist parents were broke as fuck, they still are, because I'm also not in the
yeah.
millionaire cool kids club that flies in jets. Unfortunately, not yet, right? I always say not yet because a man has hope, right? That one day, upon doing the right things consistently, a slightly more attractive amount of wealth will come my way. How much of this not giving a fuck and truly embracing your true self? You mentioned it's part of it's been your upbringing and your experiences and growing up with artists and seeing that they were. This is the thing is with artists, right? Like you truly must surrender to your art and to yourself in order to produce anything of art that is of substance, right? Besides that, how much of it is the Dutch spirit?
Yeah, I think it's definitely also Dutch. It's straight. It's something we call. I think I don't know the English word, but we call it sobriety. It doesn't have to do with non-alcohol, but more having it's very close to stoicism. I think in a way that's trying to be more objective and um, not extreme emotions, kind of like level. Which also has its downsides, right? I mean, I kind of like Mediterranean culture as well. Like,
Now you mentioned stoicism. This is definitely not on my list of questions, but it's something that I feel curious.
oh,
Is there any
people
particular
are going to tune out. They're going to be like, "Why the fuck are we talking about link building and money and ballers?"
the idea, right, for this podcast is I want to bring people that I find cool as human beings that happen to also do
There
cool
you
things in
go. There you
business and
go.
just talk about all that stuff and see where it takes us, right?
Yeah.
Because you mentioned stoicism and coming from an artist background, so let's see what commodities are also there. Any specific like philosophy of way of seeing life that you really subscribe to?
So a philosophy. I so it so I think, like I said before, like the small stuff is the big stuff. Like I really enjoy little things, daily things, and just sitting somewhere and looking out at the sea and all those kind of things. But at the same time, don't sweat the small stuff. So because we're in the end, you die and you don't have anything, and we're also just really tiny specks in the cosmos. So a lot of
Hmm.
things that you worry about or that you focus on, they actually don't matter that much at all. So I guess that's my philosophy. It's two things: enjoy the small stuff, but also the small issues are not. Uh, they're not so important. Or a lot of
Hmm.
issues are actually small.
How does someone that comes from an artistic background that isn't necessarily ultra driven by wealth, from what I've read, from what you said, right,
Yeah.
end up in link building? So I find it a very
Oh.
dry industry.
Oh yeah. Well, I think um, it is actually not so dry, depending on what kind of link building you do. But because if you have to deal with editors basically, and you're not paying them for links, it becomes a human thing, right? And that's not right at all. So then it's all about psychology and human behavior, and influencing people, and being creative in your copywriting. Um, but how I ended up in it is because I googled how to make money online. So that's how I got into SEO, and then into link building. So it's the very practical thing. Yeah, that's how I got into it.
Interesting. Entering into a bit more of the section where let's talk about business, right? When I was thinking, how do I combine what I do professionally, which I like, and it's built an amazing life, with what I stand for spiritually? How do I put both together so I can feel that, where I devote my time work-wise is correct? I thought, why don't I stay in the question and I start asking people that are doing a very vast array of things? What are they doing? What do they think? What's the human behind copywriting agency, a link building agency, a publicly traded company, an e-com marketing service, So now in the subject of being in the query, right? The query deserves freshness, part of the algorithm. We know that. So what is your latest stuff that, kind of reserved only for SEO conference presentations tip that you can give to anyone that is thinking of upgrading their SEO game right now?
Go visual. So if you look at people I think a lot of people, and especially new generation, they're sick of text and of really long text and comprehensive guides and the ultimate whatever. And you can, but they really respond well to visual. So if you can combine visual stuff with link building, that's great. It used to be done like with infographics, but I'm not sure if that's been beaten to death, right? But for instance, I play lot around with Midjourney. Midjourney is the AI image tool, right? And one thing that I do in for instance my emails is that I combine the niche that I'm reaching out to with with cats, and then I make something in Midjourney with cats. So it's really dumb. So for instance, I'm doing outreach for a lawyer, and we're reaching out to truck and logistics companies. And I asked Midjourney to create an image of a cat looking at the sunset and drinking coffee while riding a big truck. So he's just looking at the sunset.
Okay.
And the subject line of the email is truckers see more sunsets and sunrises than anyone. So when somebody opens the email, they see a cat that's actually staring out at the sunset. So I'm not saying it, I'm not writing a lot of stuff in email. I'm just showing it with an image. And I'm also making, I'm testing something out. It hasn't been published yet, with a linkable asset that's also based on Midjourney images. So the cool thing is with Midjourney is that you can combine whatever somebody's interested in with something that's not related to it at all. If you do, let's say you're reaching out to accountants or you're making a linkable asset for accountants, you can combine accountants with Squid Game images or Star Wars or something like that, or new Barbie movie. I don't know, and they might like that. So I
Especially
don't know if it
accountants love
works.
Barbie.
Yeah, right. So I don't know if it works, but if you want to try something new, I would try that.
It's,
Like a lot of images.
I love because it has a slightly surreal component to it, and I'm all about
Yeah,
surrealism. It's just part of the Spanish thing, you know. You grow up in a country that reveres
yeah.
Dali as a demigod, and you end up revering surrealism.
Anything that helps people, escape their reality or make their niche look cool, that works.
Definitely escaping reality is hot right now. As reality gets hotter, more of us will want to escape reality.
Yes,
Brace
exactly.
for 60-degree summers. Anyway, for a different
Yeah.
podcast. So now you mentioned visuals and going heavy on them. Where do you see the link building industry as a whole headed? What do you think is going to happen in the next couple of years?
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be really, really hard because Google um, yeah, they're doing so many weird things, and everybody's losing faith, right? And even people that use Google, they're kind of disappointed. So I think that to succeed in link building, the competition is going to be way tougher, and you got to come up with some real cool ideas to get that attention. But also for link building agencies, and it's also going to be rougher because companies might be holding their breath a little bit, so which means that they're holding their budgets, and maybe they're not going to spend so much. The other side of it, so this is where you have an opportunity as a link builder, is that people might be less open to risk. So if you can show that you can get links in a Google approved way, maybe that's the way to survive in comparison with link builders that buy from a lot of lists or stuff like that. But that's an assumption. I don't know. But I do think that it's just going to get harder and harder. I'm not not super optimistic about that.
Hmm.
So what do you
I,
think?
I I concur. I think the path of what works in the algorithm, particularly the English algorithm, is so well developed, right? This is stuff in other languages that you can still do SEO like it's 2016 and somehow it works, right? Because
Yeah.
the semantic entities and so forth are a little bit less developed or well understood, right? But in English, like when I started, and it's not so long ago, it's only 8 years ago, but it's long enough within the world of SEO because in 8 years we'll get you all these white hairs in SEO, but in many other industries it won't because nothing changes in 8 years. Like in the restaurant business, yeah, your feet will hurt a lot, but nothing changes in 8 years in a restaurant if you do a good restaurant, right? So
I don't know. That's
manner of speaking, in the sense of like the taste changes, you have to modernize, but the algorithm of what's a good restaurant doesn't change every 3 months.
ask restaurateurs about that because they have a lot of problems staying above water.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I say that because that's the industry I
especially
was
with
working on before, and it never felt like the speed at which you had to evolve was anything similar to SEO.
Oh,
Right? But
okay, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
might have said something that's a gross misrepresentation of the reality of being a restaurateur. That I understand. I never ran a restaurant. I just worked in them. Right? So I understand it's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
biased.
So my brother is a chef. One of my exes had two restaurants, and my partner now is learning to be a chef. So yeah, it's one of the most stressful
Oh, sure
industries
is.
to be in.
Mhm.
And the overhead is so high that your profit margin is so small, and it's really hard
Yeah,
to make it profitable.
yeah,
But
and
yeah,
that's why you have to
sorry.
work like 18 hours a day. Everyone like it's so weird. One of those
Yeah,
industries where like
normal.
yeah, yeah, for me to work when I was a waiter to work less than 12 hours a day was like, oh, today is like a half day. Like you work full time. Like,
Yes,
what do you mean full time? 8 hours? No, that's half shift. 16 hours is full time.
yes, it's crazy.
Yeah. You open and then you close. That's a full
Yeah,
day. That's full time. You open at 10 a.m. You close at 2 a.m. That's full time.
yeah,
Yeah. One thing that I want to say is the path, right, of what works in SEO is just getting narrower and narrower, right? Because also the amount of real estate
yeah,
that you have in search for organic results is getting smaller. And I think, but this is
yes,
me, and this is a reason, maybe there is a reason I'm not the CEO of Google, is Google might be killing that product by virtue of how much they add into the search product that isn't organic search results. How many ads, says generative search experience, which I think is going to be a flop. What do you think is going to happen with AI specifically for our industry?
yeah. I think you're right. So I think Google is, and I don't know everything, but I think Google is trying to combine AI with traditional search, and they have to improve that real fast because I know that a lot of people are already skipping Google and just asking AI. And then if it's something that they think is a sensitive question, they might double check it, right, in Google or something. But or with a site that they know. But if Google doesn't catch up, then most of the stuff will go, uh, or more stuff will go to AI. But
Yeah,
as far as SEO goes, I think real so publishers that only do content, they're gonna have a really hard time. But if you're an actual real company, then this is the time to really look at your competition, and in that really small market, try to gain ground, right?
Yeah.
So, and
I spoke
that's
just
still SEO.
today the CEO of a publicly traded company that is a holding for digital marketing agencies amongst other businesses, but that's the main chunk that they have, right? So you can imagine within digital marketing agencies, because we are within the meta niche in a way, right? Where everything we pro digital, we don't want radio ads, we don't physical locations, we don't do any of that stuff. It's like, how can we find the latest edge of the blade digital thing to really get growth, right? And even within
Mhm.
agencies like that, the rate of adoption of AI is relatively low. If you think other than some processes, writing content or personalizing things or maybe curating some data, right? Some people are building really cool things, but that's also because that happens to be their area of expertise in general. Charles Flood, for instance, comes to mind. Like, I know he's doing a lot of crazy stuff with AI, but that suits his skill set in a way, right? But for other
Yeah.
people, it's like, yeah, we're implementing AI here and there, right? So I can imagine accountants in small town in Michigan, they're doing probably nothing at all with AI just yet. This is a section that I call "Nobody Expects the Spanish Inquisition." So I like to throw it when it doesn't make any sense in the flow of the interview.
Okay.
What is an ethical dilemma that you face often in business?
Oh yeah, I know. Oh, I have a lot, but I have three that I can name right away.
Okay.
So one is that for a lot of my outreach, I use fake personas, just because I cannot reach out as Bibi the link builder, and some clients they don't want us to reach out as them. Some do, so I do use their editors or whatever, and I create these fake personas, and they look really, really real. Uh, but it bothers me that I do that. It's just the way I started because somebody told me to do it, and then I kept doing it. So I really want to come up with a solution for that because it doesn't sit right with me, right? The second thing is that I employ or I work a lot with freelancers from the Philippines, and I really try to treat them right, but they're in no way treated the same way as if they were Dutch laborers or from the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, the labor rights are really, really strong, right? So
Hmm.
I'm not treating them the same way, and I feel bad about it. And sometimes I feel like a neo colonizer, you know, which is I'm half Indonesian, so it's very complicated my relationship with Netherlands. Um,
Interesting.
so I feel bad about that sometimes. So I really try to offer them help them, realize their dreams and all this stuff. But at the same time, they don't have the same rights, so and not the same pay as Dutch people. And the third thing is that's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. So I'm doing link building, but I was also looking at other ways to make money just because I'm interested in not being just reliant on the agency, right? I always wanted to have other income streams as well, but I was so busy that I never got around to it. So now I'm trying to block time to build it up. And the first thing, and of course, I went back to my old ways. So I Googled I YouTubed how to make money, with TikTok or Midjourney or whatever. And then I went on TikTok and I said, "Oh, I can make a video and then I can sell some stuff or whatever." And then I thought to myself, "Do I want more people to buy more shit?" You know, in the end, as a link builder, I'm also helping with marketing. I'm only pushing people to buy more shit that 80% of the shit they're buying they actually don't need. So that's my biggest ethical dilemma. Like, do I still want to do this? Like, push shit on people to buy? But yeah, it's not a huge I'm not unhappy with it, but sometimes it's in the back of my mind, like, marketing is just selling people stuff, you know?
Hmm.
So
When you say that, you feel like a new colonizer, etc., and obviously they don't have the same labor rights as in the Netherlands because it's freelancing. Is there anything from your end that you do in order to bring some balance to that equation? Obviously, one of the points of hiring for the Philippines is you don't have to pay them 3,000 euros a month, and you still
yeah.
get top quality talent, and you can pay them a fee that for the Philippines they are super happy with, right? So there's this geo arbitrage,
Yeah.
and understood pretty much every single industry does it. But besides that, is there anything that you figured out that
Yeah.
allows you to bring some more balance?
Yes. Yeah. So there was one thing I did. I think it was 1 year or 2 years ago. I read a book called The Dream Manager, and it's not about how to be a manager, but it's about a company. It's a parable, so it's not an actual story, but it is something that they use a lot. Where there was a cleaning company, and there was a lot of layover, or what's it called, turnover. So people quitting their job basically,
Mhm.
and the company realized that they can't really give people more growth. You can become a team lead or something, but that's about it. So then they hired a manager called the Dream Manager, and he ran coaching groups, and where people would come with their dreams, and he would coach them in helping to realize those dreams. So I started the Dream Project in my company, and it was voluntary, so anybody could join. And every week we do 2 coaching calls. And we start with having people list 100 dreams in different categories. So it could be health or appearance or travel or money or spiritual or whatever. And then together we pick 3 dreams, and they start, and then we identify what can be the first steps to get your dream to reality, right? And then every week we talk about, what did you do? What are you going to do? And that has been so amazing. It's not for everyone. Some people don't want it, but they do get inspired by seeing other people being part of the Dream Project. I can give you
How
some
does this work?
examples.
Is this a group coaching call thingy, or is it one-on-ones? Because it sounds like you sort of like
No,
adding some like life coaching into the business.
yeah, it's a group coaching. So we don't we actually help each other basically. There's not one person that's the coach. They all help each other. And so, for instance, there was this guy. Sammy is really amazing, and he had some really weird stuff. Like he wanted to learn telepathy, but in the group we don't judge. We just say, "Okay, you want to learn that? Let's figure out what's the first step." And he had another thing where he wanted to see fireflies. So together we thought, oh, maybe you could go to an insect expert and ask them how you can see fireflies. So he did that, and the expert told him, "Look, they're almost extinct. So what you can do, you can have a plot of land and you can ignore it for 5 years, and maybe they'll come back." And then he realized, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. So then we talked as a group, like, why did you want to see the fireflies? And then he said, well, I wanted to feel like a child again. I wanted to have that magical wonder feeling. And then we brainstormed, what are other things that you can do that can give you that feeling? And then his girlfriend is also working with us, and she is afraid of deep water. And then he said, why don't we go swimming? And then I'm going to go and learn how to deep dive. And then they'll see stuff and it will give me the same feeling. So now every weekend they go do that. She's not afraid of the water anymore, so she can deep dive too. And actually, a lot of their friends joined in. So now they have a group of 30 people, and every week they go do the deep diving, which is amazing. And I think it was last year or something, December or the year before, he was driving up a mountain, and then he got out just to enjoy the view, and he saw a tree and it was full of fireflies. So in the end,
Oh,
he did see the fireflies. And then I was in Chiang Mai. I was telling this exact story to the wife of Gail Breton from Authority Hackers.
okay.
And after I told her story, we looked up because we were on a rooftop terrace, and there were 5 fireflies flying above us. And we were like, what the actual fuck is happening here? So now we call it Project Firefly. And every week we do it. And like I said, some people are not actively participating, but they tell me privately that they started doing stuff too. So one of them wanted to relieve her menstrual pain, and she started walking every day, and it's gone. So I've also lost people because of this project. So there was one girl, she wanted to build her YouTube channel, like a gaming channel. And she did that, and then she quit her job because she she
God
is making
bless.
money. Yeah. Yeah, so I hope that helps a little bit, like ease the guilt on the whole other thing.
I mean, yeah, it's there's a lot of different things that you can do, right? And it's interesting because all this labor regulation tries to tackle very specific things in a way that's kind of like blanket effective for people. And this is more like
Yeah.
I would even say a Montessori approach, where it's very human and it's very involved, and it's
Yeah.
risky. When you were telling me
Sure,
this thing, like it's ballsy to do this thing. It's you have
yeah.
to go past a certain. Well, you definitely cannot treat your team like a corporate environment, and then add something like this because people have to be vulnerable to share the dreams of being a telepath. Like you have to be quite
Yes.
vulnerable to share that in a team environment. But also, like, it
Yeah.
does tell me a lot of, like, if that's the kind of things, like relieving the menstrual pain, becoming a telepathic, and overcoming the fear of deep waters, like, if that's the kind of things that the humans within your team are sharing openly, that tells me so much about the kind of culture that you run internally, that I know plenty already. In that sense, like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had that in mind when I was having a job. Maybe I wouldn't have quit the job and start business on my own. And it's
I
really inspiring. And yeah,
I take
we
notes,
call it
and
bring.
I'm taking notes here, and I like to speak with you more about this Project Fireflies and see how I
Yeah,
could do something similar, because I think it's the small things. Will it have any sort of economic impact in their lives? Maybe if they start a YouTube channel like that girl, but will it have a life impact that goes beyond the kind of stuff that you can get normally at a working environment? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I think also it might also be part of the Philippines themselves, because I remember when I started with the business, um, I was working mostly with Filipino women, and I noticed that they didn't know a lot of stuff that I was talking about, like bucket lists or something, or midlife crisis. They were like, "What midlife crisis? We need food on the table." So, which is a good thing, of course. But I think now maybe the culture in the Philippines is changing itself as well, and they're like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe it's not just about work. But,
On the subject of what you said on the last ethical dilemma that you have on
yeah,
marketing as a means to drive more sales for something that probably has no value per se or no meaning, and
yes,
you could make your life better,
yeah.
but like, do I need sound panels in the back of my little studio? It makes it look a bit nicer, and I don't annoy the person at the other side of the room so much. But this is going to end up in your food in about 20 years from now,
Right.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
The little plastic wrap of the candy that I had right before this interview is going to end up in your tuna next month. And
yes,
that's a very real problem. And so I do concur with that feeling somewhere on the gap, where, like, how long can we ignore those extremely real things that we've known for a long time? Like, a lot of the shit that we use, it has such a short lifespan, and it's going to end up becoming trash. And there's only so much trash that we can accumulate in this limited size house that we inhabit. I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only one having those thoughts in a Thursday evening.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, well, the solution is, well, there's no solution, of course. Probably the best solution is just to find another job where we actually are actually helping people. But a compromise is to maybe help organizations that do some good in the world. So I'm gonna start uh, working with Amnesty International and
Nice.
help them with link building as well. And I'm gonna do that as a like a, on a free basis, just to because I want to give back, and because I used to volunteer quite a bit, but I don't do anymore.
Okay.
But so for everybody, it's different to find a way to give back, and maybe not only just add to more trash.
To find something that is not disgusting, you need to go through the via negativa. You familiar with that concept of the via negativa?
No, what was that?
It's a Christian concept of the way of removal. So if it's basically trying to find, in the Christian idea, is you try to find God by removing what God isn't. Say, okay, is God hate? can be hate, right? So, okay, God is not hate, it's God is, right? So you start saying what God isn't, and it leaves you with a question of what God could potentially say. And it's part of the living in the question thing, right? So with what's an ethical business, it's like, do I run a sweatshop? No. Okay. Like, we're pushing for more sales for maybe like a store that sells little, stone bracelets that are sourced for 50 cents in China and then get sold to the West, or for, whatever, a company that sells little studio lights, again, built in China, so that
Yeah.
podcasters like you and me can have cool, fancy color lights to make their videos a bit more interesting. I'm going to do this and maybe use this as the first few seconds of the video to like clickbait people into watching for. Then the same with, similar to the spiritual via negativa, what you are left
Yeah.
with when you get aggressive with your questioning of, is this good? Is this good? Is this valid? Is this ethical? Is this sustainable? Is this producing more, let's say, pain in the world, or will it produce more pain in the world? What you are left with is a very reduced circle of things that are cool to do. And a lot of times those things don't make money. So
True.
it's a difficult question. And that's why a lot of artists are broken, because they tend to ask themselves the questions.
Yeah. It's also with my son. He's 14, and at school now they're doing like orientation on what kind of job you want to do. And I'm so surprised that schools are still like, you need to pick a job, you need to pick what you're good at, you need to, and I'm like, no, you can just go and taste some stuff, try. Maybe you want to try this for a while, then you can try this, and if it doesn't work, then you can try something else. But there's still so much pressure on people so young to already pick what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Still, I
How
think it's
many
ridiculous.
different careers or industries have you worked on?
Let me see. I worked as a waitress as well. I was really bad. uh, I I worked as but this was before text messages. It's where, for deaf people, when they had to call somebody who was hearing, there was no way that they could communicate, right? So what they would do is that the deaf person or the hearing person would call me, and then I would call the other person, and I would either say what the deaf person was typing, or I would type what the hearing person was saying. So it's a translator between deaf and hearing people, but on the phone. That was really cool. And I sold big balloons on the streets, like giant balloons. That was illegal, by the way. So one time I had to run from the cops, and I was carrying this big balloon, and it blew up.
It's hard to hide when you're running from the cops with a big balloon that says, "I'm here."
It's so stupid. Yeah. I used to teach Dutch to groups of Chinese people. And I used to work on like at financial administration, where I would set up financial systems. And what's the other thing? I was a social media marketer for a big, like a company that sold big rigs, so big trucks all over the world. That was really cool. I've learned a lot there. That's also how I learned about link building, was in that job, because a Dutch link builder, he came there to give a consultancy, Peter van der Graaf, and I learned from him what link building is. Yeah, that was my last job, by the way.
That was your last job before you Googled how to make money online?
Yeah, because so I had a kid. So I had a baby, and I didn't want to work all the time. I wanted to work from home. So when I applied for a social media marketing job, I told them I don't want to work in an office. I want to work remote. So that was like 13 years ago or something.
Right.
And they said, yeah, that's okay. I did still have to go there like once a week. And then, but while I was home, I also realized I actually don't want to work for a boss anymore. Not because they were bad bosses; they were actually great. So then I just Googled how to make money online. And
Okay.
yeah,
I've got 5 minutes left before we run out of time, unfortunately. So before that happens, last question: if somebody is right now at home Googling how to make money online And with everything that you've learned on these years, if you were starting from zero, what path would you take?
Me? Uh, I would find something that I'm good at and enjoy doing, and then start connecting with a lot of people that are around that topic, or that need something that has to do with the topic. And from building that network, you get clients. You just have to build a relationship with a person. Not doesn't even need to be a deep relationship, just kind of casual. And then if you drop sometimes that you're playing around with doing a certain thing, they usually tell you what they want. So you don't. Well, that's what happens with me, right? I don't know if it can happen with other people, but you just talk about something that you can do, and then they're like, "Oh, would you mind doing that for me?" It's also like how because we were playing with Midjourney, and then the person said to me, "Hey, I need a podcast thumbnail or cover, for Spotify. Can you make me in the Midjourney image with my two other podcasters, because we're not physically in the same place? But can you make us be together?" And then I said, "Well, I don't have time, but one of my team members is also playing around with this. So why don't you pay her? So she's from the Philippines." So they paid her like $100, and she made it. And so yeah, just keep talking to people and telling all about things that you can do, and then they might have an idea of how you can sell it to them. Sounds
That's
really weird,
interesting.
but
That's
no.
No, it's quite how like it can happen when you're paying attention. That's how my first agency started. I was just talking about SEO within a Facebook group, and people started asking me like, "Can you make my website fast?" Like, I guess. And from there, like,
Yes.
we started going. People asking me like, "Can you audit my
Yeah.
website? And can you build me this? And can you build me that?" And then somebody asked me, "Do you want to run this team building agency?" I'm like, "Oh, I guess I'll say yes."
Yes.
Didn't they make a
What
great
I
movie
would
about
say
it? Yes, ma'am.
though, well, before the 5 minutes go up, what I would say though is start charging right away. Don't do it for
Yeah,
free. I mean, I know a lot of people do that, but I don't do that, because the free
interesting.
clients are almost never happy, and it's really hard to change it from that, to change the paid from that point. So I would just start charging
That's very
right away,
true.
even if it's small amounts. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say always charge something that you think it's fair and it makes you this much uncomfortable to say the number. The first time I
Yes.
charged
Yes.
for a
Exactly.
WordPress speed optimization, I think I charged $200. I was like, it's gonna say no. Like, we'll pay $250 for this. This is so easy. It's gonna take me 2 hours to do it, right? And they said yes, and then the next person was like, $249. And they're like, yeah, sure. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, sure. And now we charge $700, which is kind of like rate between a lot of companies, and it's good value for money, and charging more doesn't make sense, but like it's worthwhile for like developers and stuff, right? But if I start saying free, then at some point when you go to 200, you feel like, oh my god, this is the pinnacle, we'll never go more than
Yeah.
this. But you start there and you realize a lot of people will say yes.
Yeah, and people appreciate it usually more if they paid for it.
100%. And typically the more they pay, the less weird stuff happens. It's easier.
Yeah.
It's to get a bit easier. Maybe this has been a
Yeah.
blast. I wish I had another hour to do this. Maybe if you're down one day, we do round two.
I don't know if people want to. We'll see if people want to hear all this philosophy.
We'll
I can't
see.
even say it.
I've had a great time. I would definitely have another hour chat.
Oh,
But
I like it just for the fuck of it. I mean,
God
yeah,
bless.
definitely up for round.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you
Well,
so much.
thank you very much for being in the show. Maybe the link builder. Where can people find you?
Oh, at bbuzz.com. That's the best place. Or just Google BB the Link Builder and you'll find other places too.
Awesome. Yeah, she's done her semantic SEO, right? She's got like all the knowledge stuff.
Just Google
Entities in
it.
place.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Bibi.
Thank you. Good luck. Bye. But I
Same.
always notice the most fun actually happens before people start, before you start recording. Yeah, and you can do like bloopers and stuff. Why am
Mhm.
I so fuzzy? This is weird. Let me
Yeah, are you
see.
taking the call from inside of a fish tank?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a little bit better now, but you know the Mac. I have a Mac,
Mm.
and the camera is really bad. And I have a camera, but it's always so annoying to set it up because I work anywhere, right? So it's annoying.
It's weird because you would expect from a Mac to have a better camera because Mac is cam backwards.